boys in town.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Podcast The Sequel, where we discuss the good, the bad, and the continued. I'm Manira.
I'm Joseph.
And I'm Ryan.
And I'm Marissa.
And with the recent release of Transformers 1, we thought what better way to discuss than to talk about Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. So who wants to kick this off?
Well, I mean, before
we talk about it, let's discuss Transformers.
Yes.
What started off this whole I don't even know how many movies there are. Saga of Transformer movies.
I want to say there's like at least 5 of them now.
Yeah, it's a
well,
franchise.
and then there's like, and then BumbleBee.
Then there's like the animated,
like, and then animated series, because technically there was the animated movie in like the 80s. Does that even count towards this at all?
No.
Should,
I think these are remakes of them.
Yeah.
I think that's why they came out with Transformers 1 too.
Yeah, but then is Transformers 1, because it's an animated film, is that now part of the Michael Bay series, or is that part of the 1980s?
I can't accurately say yes or no. I think it is. That's what I've heard.
Well, if we do that, then we got to count like the Animatrix.
Yeah.
The Matrix. Because it ties in 1 and 2.
I've
or
never seen any of those.
Mm-mm.
Okay, no, that's a lie. I've seen The Matrix, and I saw nothing else after.
We'll get there when we get
There's
there.
a person in the Matrix that's in this movie, so it's a good little.
That's true. Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
Nice
that's
little
good.
comeback. See, it all connects, ladies and gentlemen. But let's get into Transformers.
He brought it back.
Let's do it. So, when I first watched Transformers, I didn't know how to describe what a Transformer was, because I took my little cousin to go watch it, and I was already like 14 at the time when it came out. So the best way I described it to my little cousins when I took them, I was like, if you take a Rubik's Cube and like cross it with like a yoga, I don't even know how to say a contortionist, and like mix them together, that's what a Transformer is.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody describe Transformers in that way.
You just describe it the way that as like the cartoons do. Which is just
that's how I had to describe it.
They're
to like
robots in disguise.
As
I describe
cars
it
and
to
other things
describe it
around.
to a
They are more
7-year-old
than
boy.
meets the eye. They're
To
they
Rubik's
are
Cube
exactly.
mixed with a yoga.
Where are you getting? Because of the.
They're Transformers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like a
flip and
little.
fold and
They
They
transform
Yeah.
into something.
How do you describe it to a 7-year-old?
the car turns into a robot.
Yeah.
The truck turns into a giant robot.
If he said that, he would have been like,
I'm in. Yeah.
Clearly, I was
Especially
a
if
dumb.
Why aren't we there?
Especially if it's
Right
a
now.
boy, they're in.
I was a dumb 13-year-old, but that's how I described it. And I'll leave it at that.
I love
Like
that.
it went down.
Yeah.
You know, screw you guys.
What did you call it? What did you say?
Contortionist?
I had
Contortionist.
to
Only
write
on
it-
this podcast you'll see this definition.
You had to write
for
it like,
Transformers.
phonetically.
I had to spell like
I know. I was like,
con-tort.
I was like,
You
I don't
made
even
it
know how
so
she
much
said it. Yeah.
complicated.
I was like, how did you
so
even say it?
wild, dude.
Contortionist.
If I'm that kid, I'm like, I don't want to watch this movie anymore.
No, what is
I
it?
feel like contortionist.
Was it that movie about dancing ballerina robot? And I'm good.
I feel like her saying the whole like contortionist thing was more confusing than like they're just trucks that turn into robots.
I didn't think of it that way. I also have not seen the movie when I went to go watch it. So I was like, yeah, it's like a Rubik's Cube mixed with
Yeah, that's
the word that I can't say anymore at this point.
Contortionist.
Mooney's wild
Contortionist.
take of the pod.
My first wild take of
Yeah,
the
your
pod.
hot take.
Yeah.
My
Oh my
hot
God.
take. My hot take. I'm going to pass it off to anyone else right now.
You're not even getting into what you thought of the first movie.
No. Keep going. You're
Okay.
cooking right now.
So after rewatching this movie, the best way that I would describe this movie is if you take like an early 2000s rom-com movie about like a likable hero getting picked on by his bullies, and then
Spider-Man.
tries to impress his hot classmate, mix it with battling robots and political satire. You have Transformers.
That's pretty good.
That's how I describe
That's
it.
honestly.
I mean, likable.
That's pretty
hero?
accurate.
Well, he's supposed to be the likable hero. Sam
See,
Witwicky is a
my
douchebag.
take on the movie is gonna get destroyed though, because that's one of the biggest reasons why I was excited. Because
because of Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah, because
I like Shia LaBeouf.
I was an Even Steven fan, and
Yeah.
I loved Holes. I mean,
Holes.
right? I was a fan of Shia, so that was one of the bigger reasons why I was excited to watch this movie.
Am I right?
Continue on though, baby. You're cooking still.
Oh man.
That's
Woo.
I
I'm sorry. Okay. You're pulling
you take all of that and add like an overabundance of CGI,
Okay.
and then that's Transformers. I will leave the rest later, but I'll let everyone else talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Somebody, please take it.
Do you want me to start? It's already brought up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but-
I- okay.
Yeah, and
I'll
Holes.
take I'll take an intro to mine only because I'm gonna state this. I want the boys to start off only because I know that when I was growing up, Transformers was very much like a boy's toy. And I only knew about them just because like I was friends like with everybody in my class, and like 2 of my best friends were boys and they loved Transformers. So I kind of want to hear your guys' take just to see if like, I feel like because we're all within like a certain age range of each other, like since I grew up knowing about Transformers, I just want to see if you guys were brought up with them or played with them or, you know, like whatever it was before I do my whole bit. But.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up because like I have sentimental reasons for liking the first Transformers. It's because it's one of the few movies that me and my entire family actually went to the theaters to watch, because my uncles grew up watching it in the 80s. They watched the cartoons. They had all the action figures. So they were very much like, we got to watch this. Also, Michael Bay. As a Mexican, I can say this. Mexicans love Michael Bay. Armageddon, Bad Boys 2. Like, he had some bangers, man.
I had a
Was
similar
Armageddon
take.
before or after?
Before,
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I was like, I don't remember the year. It was 2002, 2004?
1990s. Armageddon.
No,
I'll Google
really?
it.
Armageddon
Was
is
it?
90s.
Yeah.
I thought it was like 2001,
No.
2004.
No, I think
No,
it was
it's
like
like
90s.
90s.
I feel like
1998.
There you go.
Damn,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did I think it was like so much later?
And this one came out like 9 years later.
Yeah. Because
The
I think
first Transformers was 2007.
Yes.
Transformers Fallen was
and
2009.
then you had
Yes.
Bad Boys in the middle there, Pearl Harbor, which got destroyed critically, which I'll bring up at some point.
But
Oh no, we're gonna
yeah.
No, I
Cuba
had.
Gooding
We're
Journey.
probably on the same
Yeah.
wavelength. Yeah, I was like probably on the same wavelength.
So I enjoyed the first one. I feel like the effects in the year it came out, like the CGI, worked well for that film. It carried it. Very much Michael Bay. He's way too much into the CGI, and we'll get to in the second one as well. But yeah, I had a good time with it. I really liked it. My family loved it. So it was just one of those like core memories where I was going to the movie theaters with your entire fam and then all loving it. And then I remember they bought it for me bootleg. They couldn't even buy me like the...
like at the laundromat.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah. But so I just remember that being the way I used to keep watching it. It used to be like a family thing for us, especially the first one. So I always enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, I did not grow up with Transformers whatsoever. So when it came out, I was like, eh.
Which is funny because you're the only one of us that was born in the 80s.
Yeah,
That's
and I was
true.
like, nah, I'm like I had GI Joes and stuff, but even then I was like, I wasn't really about GI Joe either. It was just one of those toys that I was just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I had a Beast Wars toy,
Mm.
but it was more from like a friend.
And then like you
Yeah,
purchased
then
it
I was
yourself.
like, oh yeah, I love this. No, it wasn't for me. I don't think.
I'm glad you mentioned the GI Joe thing though, because I don't know if you guys saw this when you're like watching the movie or looking into the movie, but it was supposed to be a GI Joe movie
Yeah.
originally.
Oh,
and
interesting.
because of U.S. going to war with Iraq, they
Stopped
were
it.
like, let's not do that.
Yeah.
Let's do anything else. And so
Timing
they're
was
like,
Same theme.
how about
but
Transformers? Yeah, Hasbro's like,
robots.
how about Transformers? And they took it up from there. So
And
I'm glad you
they've
mentioned
always
that.
teased of like doing like one big movie with like a lot of the Hasbro action figures.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
Create like a
was
Hasbro
always-
universe
yeah.
movie.
Like an Avengers, but with
but
Hasbro.
Hasbro, like yeah, like G.I. Joe.
gonna do it with
all
Mattel,
them,
too.
like, yeah.
They are doing it with Mattel.
Get a sick
They're gonna have a
Nerf
Barbie
movie.
linked into their.
That would be.
They're starting with the Hot Wheels for Mattel universe.
So what is Barbie gonna be driving a Hot Wheel?
Aren't they doing like a Polly Pocket movie
They are
too?
doing
Polly
Yeah.
Pocket? Uno's getting a movie for Mattel. I don't know.
Mattel,
That sounds like a horror movie. That
Mattel's
sounds
trying
like
to
a
start,
great
like,
horror
whole,
movie.
like movie universe after
If
Barbie.
Uno is not a horror movie, I'm gonna be upset. Because that's a total horror movie.
I mean, yeah. 'Cause
Take
it's,
4.
it's gonna be a horror.
I mean, we're finally getting that Minecraft movie that we've all been dying for. So there's that. But anyway, Ryan.
Yeah. What are my thoughts on the on Transformers?
Yeah. Now that we've mentioned every other toy.
Yeah, I thought it's a movie. I thought the CGI was really good for the time, and now it still kind of holds up. Like it's still there.
Yeah.
Certain scenes look really good. It's a lot of gratuitous explosions
Yeah.
because it's Michael Bay.
Yep.
A lot of slow mo
Yep.
because it's Michael Bay.
Michael
Mhm.
Bay classic.
I felt like a lot of scenes in it were just like how many shots of helicopters do you need in a movie for it to just be like an army ad,
Mm.
like join the Navy?
Yeah.
I felt that a lot.
Like Optimus
watching it.
Prime
Yeah,
wants you.
like
yeah.
join the military.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, right. A lot of guys on battleships just like
Military propaganda.
yeah, and
dude.
I felt like it was a little propaganda,
Mm.
a little bit. So you
I can
saying
see
that
that.
it was sort of like we're gonna make it a GI Joe 9/11 thing, and I was like,
Well, because originally the writers that signed on were like G.I. Joe, and then like they were like, no, let's not do that. Let's. So I kind of see the
Yeah.
inserts.
Yeah. I felt like they don't talk about it. It sort of just kind of gets brushed past, but like they like, Autobots and Decepticons just kind of murder a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
We just don't talk about it.
yeah. That city
It's
gets
just like hidden,
wrecked.
brush
Just
it under the
wrecked,
rug.
dude.
Like,
It gets wrecked.
they just blew right through that
Yeah.
building. There was people in there probably.
One of my notes, it's like going a little bit farther into the movie, but it's just like there's a scene where they're like fighting on the freeway, and I always think in like, and this is every movie ever, like anytime I see where it's like the actual movie kind of intersecting with like real life, I'm just like, I can only imagine just like me just like going to work being like, oh, God, like gotta call my boss, I'm gonna be about like an hour late to work, gotta do this like nonsense.
You're never gonna believe this, but
Like, you never believe this, but there's two robots like fighting in front of me, and him just being like, "Okay, Marissa, just like
Just
you're
go
gonna
back
get right
with
up
it.
because
get
you're
here
late."
when you can.
Yeah, just like, I mean, couldn't have gone with like the cat ate my homework or some
Yeah.
nonsense. Like two robots, okay, and then yeah, just the destruction of just like two like counterpart like a month ahead, and they're just like, we're doing construction still on the 405, like just like. So they cut off my freeway. I can't get to work now, and I got to find another route and take side streets, and then I got to take, over to the 5 and then cut off on the 55, and it just, that's always just, my brain goes way,
Stop it.
the inconvenience.
That's too many
of just
freeways all on the.
So many.
Stop it. Stop it.
If I have
too
to cut,
specific.
if I have to cut over more than like
That's
two
too
freeways, I was just like, why even go to work at that point? Just
Yeah.
like, why didn't the Autobots wreck my car?
Well, that's a funny thing too, because I remember there's a scene where they're like fighting on maybe a bridge or some sort of street, and like the kid's like, "Oh, cool," but he definitely steps on that car like right next to them. There was people in that car.
They got wrecked.
Like, yeah, they're like that. No, that family's dead in that other
They're
one.
gone.
Well, yeah, and then what movie was it? The Avengers was it the Avengers that talked about like or was it Superman?
It was
Where they
Superman.
taught up like the destruction and like how like these superheroes were basically like causing so much
both.
money. Yeah,
because
Yeah.
Man
A
of
little bit
Steel. Well, not that's. I don't want to get into like a whole tangent.
No,
Well, yeah,
get
it was
into
like-
the
yeah, it
tangent
was like just
because
like a
they're the
simple-
only
yeah.
movie
They're the
that
ones
ever talked about
Man
it.
of Steel, they destroy all of like Metropolis, and
Yeah.
Batman's the only one. Be like, isn't he gonna pay for this? Like, he's part of this issue too. Like, he destroyed everything. And then Avengers, that's when they had Civil War because
Wait,
like,
Batman said that
yeah, but
about
more,
Superman?
And more
more, yeah,
or
Yeah.
less.
Does he know he
yes.
works at the paper? He's not making money.
I know.
Why doesn't Batman just donate some money?
Yeah,
Well, I
Bruce
mean,
Wayne.
they didn't hit Wayne
Bruce.
Manor, but hey,
Yeah, but they're like, he has a limit. Like Avengers, that's the whole reason of Civil War, was because they're getting told like, you guys need to have like a limit, destroy
Yeah.
the entire city, and that's why Iron Man's like, yeah, we have to sign this paper and be working for the government. Captain America's like, nah, and that's how you get that.
Yeah.
you get the, yeah,
So other movies have
factions.
consequences for those actions. Other movies, well, I mean, kind of. Transformers 2 does have a moment where the government's like,
We're taking over.
They
Yeah.
do,
But
yeah. in
theirs
the second
but
one.
theirs isn't necessarily taking over because of monetary value. Really,
Yeah.
I feel like it's just more like the control.
they want to
the
control it. They don't
Yeah.
like the
They
want
feeling.
It's a
They
lot
don't
of
like
trust.
knowing that
Yeah.
somebody's on their planet. It's just like,
Mhm.
hey, we're gonna just make this our new home, and it's like, nah, it doesn't work here.
Yeah,
Just,
Yeah,
I agree.
I like Bumblebee.
Yes.
I think it's a good character. Like it has just the right amount of quirks where it kind of works. You know what I mean? Like he has a voice box thing, so he has to speak
Use
through
like
the
the
radio.
radio.
Yeah, I like that. I thought that was funny. R.I.P. The guy who sold him the car, Bernie Mac.
oh, he's so good. Yeah,
He was
I
real
love Bernie
good.
Mac.
Really good in like Ocean's 11 and
just-
the Ocean series in general.
He's okay.
Mr.
So
3000.
Yeah.
I love having Bernie Mac, but then I also put him in the same like bubble as I feel like with both Transformers movies that we're going to talk about. There's just so many comic reliefs that you're like, I'm almost like, is this an action? Is this, like as Mooney said, like, is it a rom-com? Is this a comedy?
Yeah.
Like, I love the comedy part of it because like I'm always a sucker for like early 2000s, but I just feel like there's so many different bits. Like you've got like the weird, like you've got like John Turturro who's got like this weird, like they take off his clothes and do like an underwear bit with him. And then
Get into
you've
that in
got-
2.
Yeah, and then you've got like Tyrese who's always funny.
Yeah.
And then you've got Bernie Mac, and then you've got like his parents, which add like just like the, mom and dad humor
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like there's just so many different like
It just
funny
it never
moments
jumps
where-
over so many different lanes, and it's like, oh, but here, big explosion.
Yeah. Or even Bumblebee. Bumblebee has like a few comedic moments just because of the whole voice box thing. So
Yeah.
it's just like there's so much comedy that I'm like, I don't like who. It's almost like, and I like one of my biggest notes is just like there's so many characters in this movie, like, and there's so many names, which is great, and it makes it huge and like makes it worth almost like the 800 million I'm sure that it made, and I don't remember the number in box office, but it's just there's so
Probably
many.
spent that much.
There's just so many people, and then
For
like
the
there's
second
just
one, for the first one.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there's so, like there's multiple storylines, so you're just like you're following the Autobots and the Decepticons, you're following the military, and then you like pause everything action wise, and you're just like, let's go over this rom-com and we'll talk about these two kids over here. What are they doing? So I don't know.
That's a comfortable way to work in a garage, sitting on that. Yeah, that's the best way to paint the motorcycle.
Yeah, you can definitely tell somebody wanted Megan Fox up in there.
Yeah, with their thumbs.
Yeah. Which
I think-
like necessary? Is she necessary? Not even like just like the scenes of her being hot, because like I get it, like guys are gonna watch this and
I
be
feel like
like,
that's the only reason why they have
oh,
her in there.
action cars,
Yes.
hot girl.
It's
Like
for
I
that
get
moment,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I totally understand, but I'm just like, do we really believe that Megan Fox is fixing up
Oh,
these
no.
cars?
No.
No.
I think
Absolutely not.
one thing that I watched an interview that she did when she talked about Transformers and Transformers 2 is she does not know how to ride a motorcycle. So it's literally Michael Bay is standing behind her and just pushing the motorcycle. So all the scenes you see of her riding the motorcycle, Michael Bay is in the back just pushing her while she rides the motorcycle. Why, I don't know. You could have had anyone else push her in the motorcycle. It had to be Michael Bay just pushing her.
Want to look at that ass?
That's what I said.
Oh yeah, push it.
He wanted
Some
that
people have
shot.
feet, some
Yeah.
people got butts. I don't know. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think one of my biggest nitpicks of Transformers, and more so with Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, so kind of both ways, there's so much CGI in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's an overabundance of CGI, and I think the excessive amount of CGI just made the movie seem so much longer than it needed to be, that I was like, the movie was so long. So much CGI, it was just very long, and yeah, that was it, actually. Not gonna lie. That's all.
So I feel like, and I'm not saying that this is like the best CGI ever, and like one would even argue like what is the best CGI, like, you know, kind of thing. Early 2000s CGI, I thought they did a great job with the CGI that they had.
I think they did a good
and
job.
honestly too, like especially during the scenes where it's like you have like Shia LaBeouf or the military and they're looking up at these Autobots, like I feel like it's actually done pretty well. Like honestly, like between the Autobots or the Decepticons and all that CGI versus the actors, I feel like the voice actors and the CGI are done better than the actors.
I agree
At
with you.
some extent, right? Because like some of them are, you're like, are we really believing this right now? And like I think like my whole point to like for my piece to the story is like I feel like there's a whole deeper theme that's going on here, and I don't know if anybody else. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm not looking.
You're just like over there, and you're like,
Because it's funny, the deeper themes of the
well,
Transformers
okay. So
movie.
my
I know,
deeper
yeah.
theme is that like, I'll just get into it. Is so Steven Spielberg produced it, right? And we all know Steven Spielberg. Like he's very much like, oh, let's create like, you know, this very basic thing, right? Where it's like an alien and a boy kind of thing. Like it's very much like, and that's what he wanted to do with Transformers. He wanted to do like, it's a boy and his getting his first car, right? And then aliens. Like, so you see like moments like that, or like based on like the dialogue and like how Sam, who is Shia LaBeouf's character, is like getting the new car, right? And he's just like coming of age, and like it's teaching responsibility of having the car, and then like the car ends up being an alien for some reason. So like I definitely see like the Steven Spielberg-esque kind of like happening, and Steven Spielberg was the one that chose Michael Bay to direct. Like he's like, hey, do you want to do, like, I want you to do this movie, it's big on CGI, which like Michael Bay is obviously, you know,
Real
big
big.
on.
a huge fan of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I think as far as like the fact of that they're transforming robots, like I feel like CGI is absolutely needed in this.
I mean,
And
yeah, it is-
I honestly think it didn't. I don't think that it was terrible. Like,
It's one of my pros for the film because,
Yeah,
like
well,
you
no,
said at
I
the
mean-
time, like we're getting like look at the Rock as the Scorpion King.
Oh yeah.
Like
Oh,
bad
God.
CGI. I'm
Oh,
talking about
so
like
terrible.
really bad CGI around back in that time.
yeah.
It was.
I mean,
was
yeah, it's
awful.
also early 2000s
It
too.
was
Like, I
rough.
mean, like you're kind of giving that, and it's also like I don't know if you also know this too, but like this movie was nominated for 3 Academy Awards, and it's
Yeah,
not
it
it's not
was.
necessarily for like, I think one was visual art,
One
visual
was
effects,
visual effects,
and then the other were like sound mixing,
Sound,
sound
yeah.
editing.
Yeah.
And they didn't win, But I mean, like,
But they got the
they still
nom.
got,
Yeah, I mean,
they
yeah,
still
like,
got
they got the
nominated, which
nom,
is
yeah.
huge,
huge.
especially for like a movie made about Hasbro toys.
Well,
like,
yeah.
Hasbro movie that was a summer blockbuster. Like those usually just get like the money and that's about it.
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
another thing, like, summer blockbuster. You have Steven Spielberg, who created essentially the summer blockbuster,
Yeah.
with Jaws. So, but I mean, I definitely get like those themes, and I think it like carries over into like Revenge of the Fallen with like, we'll get into those themes, but I don't know. Personally, like overall, I did not mind Transformers. I saw most of them in theaters, so like I definitely think that these, if you have not seen these, you haven't had the experience of seeing them in a theater, it definitely changes, I think, because when you're seeing it on the big screen, I think seeing the CGI and kind of like you're immersed in this world, like it just kind of changes everything. And then going from Joseph's perspective of, like he grew up with the toys, or at least like had some sort of like nostalgia connection. I definitely think that it like connects you or disconnects you from one way or another. But I mean, I didn't mind this movie. I'm not saying it's the best movie ever. Like I definitely have like little things. I think like we all have little quips about it, but I definitely remember it being a lot better than I thought it was. Now looking back at it, and I definitely like was kind of like nitpicking and everything. I found a random little piece that I thought was really fun, because I feel like as we're going through all these episodes, I'm finding like connections between them all, and there actually is a connection slightly between Transformers and Friday the 13th.
Hit us
Really?
with it.
So Megan Fox's like douchey boyfriend from the beginning, his actor is Travis Van Winkle, and he was actually in the reboot of Friday the 13th. He was also the douchey boyfriend.
Hey,
So
typecast.
good job, typecasting. But I'll let somebody else talk now. Before I was like,
do we wanna
I got a
do
lot
this
of
bad
stuff.
boy?
I was like,
Well, did you have more that you wanted to
yeah, I was
say
like, I
about
got a
it,
lot
or-
of stuff on the
No, yeah,
original,
it's
but
mostly just the CGI. It's like Marissa said, it's definitely harder to watch at home. It doesn't have that same appeal to me as it did when I watched it in the movie theater.
That like oomph.
Yeah, it doesn't have that like movies add maybe like to the experience. That's why I kind of hate when they do like the whole streaming thing. Now we're just gonna put it on the streaming app. It's
Yeah,
like that's not,
straight
you're not
to
gonna get the
streaming.
same. It's not the same environment. It's not the same atmosphere. It changes things in some ways. So like rewatching it, not as big of a fan of it as it was years ago. But like yeah, at that time the CGI holds up, the effects hold up. Is the story wonky? Absolutely. It's Michael Bay. You take what you get. You know you're gonna get an entire CGI, great effects, great sound, and you just take that for what it is. To me, like those Transformer movies, like laid the path for a lot of movies we get nowadays, like those like Kong versus Godzilla movies. You could say it's directed by Michael Bay, and I would believe it.
Yeah.
Because it's very much established those grounds, especially CGI moving forward. I feel like a lot of people started catching up to where Michael Bay was at in that first movie. So I feel like that laid the groundwork for good CGI. So yeah, I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
Want to give this bad boy rating?
Yeah.
I think,
You want me to take
Marissa,
it, or-
you have some more things to add still, right?
I just have like small little like nitpicky. I mean, like they're not.
Yeah, that's
huge.
all my notes are just
Yeah, I
little
was like, they're not
nitpicky
huge.
things.
I think one of my, I guess, cons, if you will, is just like these movies, like they're so based on like exposition, like just opening with exposition, closing with monologues, like giving us like the story instead of like they kind of do it more so in the sequel where like they're showing us and telling us. But I mean, like it's just so much exposition of just like, did you know that your father was or your grandfather was the guy that did the thing, and then that's why you have this, and the like you're responsible and everything like that. And I have like a random nitpick of one of the opening scenes where like they're at the park, and Shia LaBeouf's character is like, oh yeah, this hot girl, like, oh, I just got this car and like I'll look cool, and his friend like climbs the tree and like hangs upside down like a monkey. And I'm just like, why is this is this important to show that they're like losers or
Puberty.
yeah, I was like, I don't understand.
Yeah,
like not even
essentially.
puberty. Aren't they like sophomores or juniors in high school? Like
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
they're freaking there. Like
That kid's a late
Shia
bloomer,
LaBeouf
I'll
is
say
like
that.
his voice is dropped. He's good. But I don't know. He's just like weird friends in like both this movie and the next movie. So I'm like, are you supposed to show that like geeks get the girl, or like what's the point there? I don't know. I mean, I definitely believe a lot of Shia LaBeouf stuff. Like there's like scenes where like I definitely feel I think there's like a scene where like they capture BumbleBee or something like that. I think it's this one. Is it this one? No,
yeah.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
I was
No,
like,
yeah,
no,
no, I
I'm
think
like,
yeah.
I'm saying it out
It was
loud, I'm like,
Transformers, yeah.
and like you definitely feel like that connection of almost like when you lose a pet, or if you have a pet that's like sick kind of thing, and you're just like, oh no, like he's really losing his baby, his car, his pet, his friend, his however you want to view it. So I don't know, like I just, as silly as it sounds, like I almost believe in it, where I'm just like, oh, like I feel bad for him, like losing his car, like losing his friend, his buddy, or whatever have you.
Yeah, I one of the last nitpicks I had was they have like that giant battle. It's like right in the middle of downtown LA.
Mm-hmm.
Not a single homeless person on that street.
Yeah, not LA. Accurate.
Not one. Yeah.
No.
There's no tents. There was nothing. That was my only nitpick. That was
Yeah,
it.
if you're gonna destroy it, you show Skid Row in the back.
Yeah, and they'd be like, oh shit.
I found like a lot of the side characters too. I know I like mentioned earlier that there's so many people, there's so many characters. I found like random humor in like a lot of them. Like I think he's like a sidekick or whatever, or like I don't even know what his position is, but to John Turturro's character, he's like the white guy. He's actually the engineer from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Okay.
It's Arwen.
Oh
Do
my
you
god,
remember
you're
him?
so right.
Yeah, I was like, do you remember? I just saw him and I was like, oh my god. I was like, Sweet Life. What are you doing up in here?
'Cause it's a sweet life. I'm done singing it.
Nice.
And then I always enjoy John Voight in like terrible movies, and
Oh yeah.
I love it. There's like I always
Spaghetti.
make fun of it's there was like a thing where like if you go back to like sci-fi and like 1950s or like whenever they talk about like futuristic stuff, they don't call them robots, they call them robots. And John Voight is like the only one in there where there's a moment where he's like, you got these robots, and you're like, all right, John Voight, we get it. You're, you know, and he also looks like every single like white politician ever made, like
Absolutely.
so he was like just so fitting to be there.
But when he popped up though, it just immediately. Cause I remember we were watching it.
I hear, yeah.
He was like, I don't know. You've seen a little movie called Anaconda.
Yeah.
John Boyd's supposed to be like South American or something. Or
Just
it's like,
terrible.
those anacondas out there, snakes get so big. I just kept doing that in my head. They got robots out in the desert somehow.
Oh my god, I just
Terrible accent.
or I have like a bunch of notes, but I don't want to go crazy and just go blah 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 blah. My only other thing is just there's so many like Dutch angles happening.
Yeah,
and
there's a
there's
couple
so
Dutch
many
angles
like
in
yeah,
there.
just so many different action shots. And my favorite one that I always remember, and I'm pretty sure it was in the trailer as well, is like there's like the slow motion happening where like you see like a robot go like overhead, and there's just this woman, slow shot of this woman just being like, ah, and you're like, lady, get out of there.
Yeah,
and
what are you
also,
doing?
why are we filming this?
Yeah.
Like, why are we filming this one random woman who's not even a character just be like, I'm so terrified in the middle of the street?
It's gotta add that
It's
suspense.
just
Yeah.
it's crazy to me. I mean, other than that, I was like, like everything is just so nitpicky. Like, why we have, you know, Lewis Stevens in charge of the like Earth right now? Like, he's the key. Like, Stanley Yelnats is gonna save us all from like from these robots, and just I don't know.
Mhm.
Insert characters of, but Josh Duhamel, you know,
So pretty.
Fergalicious.
yeah, Fergalicious, also known as Tyrese, but.
Do you want to give us your rating?
Yeah, I'll give it a rating. I'm gonna put the first one. I will give it a 2.5 because I feel like it hits the nostalgia. Like, I grew up with Transformers. Like, you know, I understand like the importance of where it sits, especially marketing and kids and toys. And they just wanted to put more toys out. I remember Burger King having some pretty sick toys during that time. So
Hell yeah.
I gave Transformers a 3 out of 5, and my one note for my rating was solid popcorn entertainment. A solid film.
I thought hers was gonna be like my little note.
5.
Was still higher than Aliens.
Yeah.
It is still higher than Aliens.
Still higher
It's
than
crazy.
Aliens.
It's so wild.
So unfortunate.
I'm at a 3, just for the sentimental reasons, and also because the CGI at that time, I got to give it props for that. But now watching it, yeah, it's kind of a tough watch, but I'm still at 3. Average blockbuster popcorn flick.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I agree. It was a popcorn flick for sure. Had the action, had the romance, the suspense, had all that. I give it a 2.
Romanza.
Talked about Transformers. Let's move on to Transformers 2. So Transformers 2 came out in 2009. It takes place 2 years after the events of the first film.
And released 2 years after the first film.
And released 2 years after the first film. So when it came to filming Transformers 2, there was a lot of possible delays that could have been associated with the film. There was a possible strike with the Directors Guild of America, and at the same time, the Writers Guild was having a strike at the same time. So, in order to finish production of the film, Michael Bay relied heavily on pre-visualization and scriptment, which is, I don't know what
Well, when
scriptment
they were
means.
filming the movie, they didn't even have a finished script at the time.
No, they did not have a finished script. So
Yeah.
they continued filming the movie without a finished script.
Yeah.
So they just
He's just
continued-
filming shit?
Yeah.
Yes, he was just filming.
That's
That's where
what
he
that
used a lot of
means.
his
Makes
pre-visual.
so much sense now.
just
Oh,
filming
it makes
shit.
a lot of
Thinking
sense.
Oh,
And we'll get
man.
into it when
movie.
we get
Yeah,
to
I
like
was
the
thinking
critics
of
and
the
what they
movie.
said about it.
I had no idea.
He has a whole thing about why that movie underperformed, or not underperformed, but got
It should
just
still be good.
slammed by the critics.
That makes so much more
Yeah.
sense.
The things that I found out about the movie while I was researching it is that up until now, Transformers 2 Revenge of the Fallen is the highest grossing film to ever win the Worst Picture Award.
Wow.
Well, there goes my fun fact.
Just cross that right off.
Check
the,
that
I was
one
like,
off.
crazy.
And then at the Razzie Awards, it won 3 whole Razzie Awards.
3.
It won 3
It was
Razzie
the
Awards.
worst.
Worst Picture and the other 2 I do not know. I'm so
Well,
sorry.
also, this film, Rolling Stone declared it the worst movie of the decade.
Wow.
the
Mhm.
whole decade.
The entire
Yeah.
decade. Yeah.
Did they wait a decade before they said that? Or like, no, we're pretty confident.
2010.
No,
I-
it's just 2009. So yeah, it was like 2009.
The early
Oh, I gotcha.
2000s.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
so-
Oh, that makes sense. I get what
they
you're
did
saying.
from 2 to 210.
Yeah.
Or like the worst movie of the decade was given to this film. Yeah.
Ooh.
$200 million budget, and it made $836.5 million
Yeah.
in the box office. So it was a
It was a box
commercial
office
marketing
success.
Yeah.
Like that's why there
It
was
made
so much
money.
more after that. But
Money.
script wise, it just got completely
Hot garbage.
just
Yeah.
bad. And when you watch it, it's fucking bad. It's a bad time, man. He doubles down on the CGI to the point where that is the only thing in that movie that is just in there. And like the script's bad, the dialogue's bad. It's just it jumps all over the place. Like the first one has a lot. This one's like XXXXL version
Yeah.
of the first one, and it's not good. Like he just shoves so much in there, man. And it's a bad film. We watched it the other day, and I couldn't believe that at one point I actually did enjoy this, but that was years ago. Now it's horrific. It's bad. It's way too long. 140 minutes of just a CGI shitfest.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really add anything to like any of the characters. Like that's what I've always said about Michael Bay. Like, yeah, the effects and the CGI is great, but the story is always lacking. Whereas like James Cameron CGI and stuff is great, but the dude's winning the Oscars for like Best Picture awards and stuff like that for his Avatar movies. Not the biggest fan of Avatar, but people love him apparently. I mean, both movies made like $1 billion and it's been
Apparently.
nominated.
Yeah.
And Michael Bay just doubles down on it, and it's not a good movie. I had a bad time watching it. I was trying not to look at my phone.
He
and
pulls
I
a
kept-
Mooney?
I kept pulling a Mooney. I kept like
Oh my
jumping
God.
onto
So
TikTok,
break
and
it.
breaking out the phone.
looking
Yep.
at like sports stuff, and just like not interested in it. Just being like, damn, like I'm just bored. Like, yeah, you're showing me all these more explosions and more robots. Some robots that kind of push the envelope on certain things. It's just a bad time. A lot of like political propaganda again. Like they took a lot of digs at Obama for some reason in this
Yeah, they
film.
did.
No,
They did a lot
did.
of
Yeah,
digs
I'm
at
like,
Going to the
what
Obama.
bunker.
the hell
Yeah,
is-
going to the
Mhm.
bunker.
Yeah, like what the hell is going on, man? It's a tough time. It was not a very enjoyable rewatch. It's one of those films where it's like this is where Michael Bay is starting to like just slowly drop as a director, like the performance wise, directing wise, just bad. Just a bad time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I agree with you. I think he just doubled down a lot on the CGI with this film. And I think, and a lot of like the script not being as good as it could have been, I think it had a lot to do with the fact that they filmed without a script and they just kept going and going and going until they're like, we're done. We finished everything. I don't know. I did not enjoy watching this. I watched this one in theaters too, and I think I just, I didn't care for it.
See, I didn't watch
Rewatching
this
it-
one in theaters.
I watched it in
bootleg.
theaters, yeah.
I did too. Yeah.
I watched it in theaters. It was just, I didn't really care for it. Bumblebee still is my favorite character in this entire series. As much as I liked Shia LaBeouf's character in the first one, I fucking hated Shia LaBeouf in the second film. I thought Sam Witwicky, he was like a cute, adorable character in the first one. That was a fucking douchebag. Like, I could not. I have a whole rant on Sam Witwicky, and he's just a fucking douchebag.
Tell us
And
how
I'm
you
reading
really
it right
feel.
now. It's great.
I think Shia would agree with you.
I just
Honestly.
think my biggest thing's like he started off in the first one like he's little geeky kid. Did I cut you off?
No.
I'm so sorry. um,
Choke on a mouth spit.
he started off as this like geeky kid who befriends the Autobots, lands the hot girl, and then just slowly and slowly just gets worse and worse as the entire series progresses with him. He goes to college. He becomes this like whiny, self-entitled little brat. He's like, I saved the world. I can do whatever I want now. I don't have to go back and save the world. And I think the characterization of his character just made me fucking hate this film.
Went straight to his head.
It went straight to his head, like it did in real life. He just became a self-entitled asshole.
I feel like Joseph said, there's a lot of issues with like the script, and I feel like a lot of my notes are very much like quotes taken from the film. Like even with the opening where there's like this whole fight scene that breaks out or whatever, and I want to say it's Optimus Prime that like shoots something or someone, and he just goes, damn, I'm good. And I'm like, I feel like that's not an Optimus
Like,
Prime thing.
No.
What?
But then like I also like, because once again like Steven Spielberg is producing and everything like that, they actually did have a theme for this movie, and it's basically like Sam's going to college and like his parents needing to let go, and like you can kind of see that in the script because like in the scene where it's like they're in Egypt or whatever, and it's like the big battle right of the scene, and there's a moment where like Sam needs to get to Optimus or whatever, and the parents are like, no, you're gonna stay right here, you're gonna stay right here, and he's like, no, you have to let me go, you have to let me go. And like as much as like, yes, it's shitty writing, like yes, like up to this point you're like, are you really involved with it? Like I totally feel that, like I don't know, it got me like in the point where like what was that little like short, Joseph, that little short with the dumpling that Disney did,
Oh,
Bio?
Bao?
Bao?
Yes.
Bao?
where I was just like, the parent in me is just like, no, like don't leave home, please
Yeah.
don't leave. And Shia LaBeouf's like, no, you gotta let me go.
Yeah.
You gotta let me make my own choices.
Well, even
and
Bumblebee
make
has
my
to
own
let him
mistakes."
go when he's going to college, and he's like,
Oh yeah, that
freaking
whole
out as
scene where
well.
he's just like,
Yeah.
he's so sad
Yeah.
and everything, and
And all the
Shia's
different
like, no,
songs
I'm
that
gonna
are
go.
playing.
You're gonna stay here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then even like the parents, like you're basically seeing the parents like kick him out of the house.
Yeah.
Well, the dad's kicking him out of his house, and the mom's like, sock.
Yeah.
You know, so you get like that torn, like, and I feel like that's very relatable for
Oh,
like
yeah.
a lot, especially like older parents. I feel like this was that movie where you got like the relation between like parents will understand. You got like the kids who are like, oh, cool, like blow up and toys and yeah. And then there's still like that rom-com feeling of like the who's gonna say it first, who's gonna say I love you, is it gonna be her, is it gonna be him? And you got that for like, you know, women, if you will. So I mean, like they kind of just compiled like everything that they did before. It's action, it's comedy, and like once again, so many comedic people in this movie where you're just like, we're laughing at everybody.
Yeah.
Like, and there's just like, even like to the point where like the Autobots, like what's the one that Megan Fox finds? It's like a little
The little
That's
snarky.
Yeah,
one,
the
of,
snarky
one of my
one.
biggest problems with this
Yeah.
movie.
Oh,
I have a
and he's
problem
like
with him, too.
humping her leg
Yes.
or
Yeah,
whatever.
dude.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly
we get it.
that.
She's hot. I get it.
A lot of
That
new
was
robots
fucking
were
weird.
just like, why? Why are you hitting a stereotype that doesn't need to
My-
be hit?
Like, what
First.
is it? Yeah.
Problem: SpongeBob SquarePants.
Tom Kenny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing, man? Is that like it's like the voiceover of blackface? I felt
yeah.
it was rough. Like, whoa, dude,
I
what are you
think-
doing?
It was a rough.
Yeah.
It
What
just-
is that voice?
But I feel like what Marissa just said, like what was trying to say in the story, there is a lot there to be done,
Yeah.
and it just completely just goes away from that at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's just like, there's something there with him going to college and the parents thing, and also like the robots also have to deal with their own issues as well, and they're needing Optimus going to Sam, and Sam being like, look, I'm in college, dude, I can't do this anymore. You
Yeah.
don't need me. And Optimus turns around, it's like, we need you more than you'll ever know. And it's like there's something there that could be had into a good movie, and it's just like, no, explosions.
I feel like there's
comedy,
just too
explosions,
there's too
CGI.
many, well, I feel like there's too many people going
There's too
on.
many side stories.
There's too yeah. It's
Yeah.
like you've got the military, and then you've got Shia LaBeouf, and then you've got the Autobots and the
And it's just
Decepticons, and
jumping.
there,
It's just
and it's
going
just
places
yeah.
where it's
But I
like-
feel like if they would have established like in the actual like the cartoon in 1986 they did a first Transformers the movie, right, where it was just about them, right, and it's pretty much what we're gonna get with Transformers 1. But I feel like if they would have started with that and then kind of maybe brought into like, you know, come in like 20 years later and now they're at Earth and everything like that, and they run into this family who is Shia LaBeouf and everything like that, you could have made that connection. But like even in the first one, like you're so like, is Josh Duhamel gonna get back to his wife and his kid?
Yeah.
Like there's just so many open-ended like storylines that you don't like, you want to care about them, I think, just like as a viewer, but it's hard to because you're not given enough time or information. And even like in the first one, there's just so much exposition that you're just kind of like, all right, I'm trying to follow along. Like the only reason I know what's going on is because I know Transformers lore, I guess, if you will, if you want to call it that. But like, you know, do we care? Like, I don't even know if Sam's care. Like, do Sam's parents even like Michaela?
Who's taking care of those dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah, like do the
they're-
are the
got two
dogs?
dogs.
Yeah,
They
like,
just-
do
they're
you
just
bring the
gone.
dog? Like, I've
Michaela's supposed to
there's
take care
so
of the
many
dogs.
questions.
Like your
How- what's
daily
going on?
life. we
There's
think
She
they
was-
have to
so
take
many
care of,
questions.
they just
She
kinda
left?
leave it.
she fucking
And then I
bailed.
also like the first movie too. Like the whole reason they didn't even do GI Joe was because the U.S. went to war with Iraq after 9/11, right?
Yeah,
and
they
in
did.
this movie, they specifically mentioned 9/11 and how much destruction
National
that this
tragedy.
this whole thing has caused. Like we haven't, where they go, we haven't seen the damage this bad since 9/11, and I'm like, okay, so you're gonna mention 9/11 now, even though it's only been 2 years since the last time
Yeah.
that we ran this movie, and like, I just,
And it's
I'm,
and then it's established it's taking
It's fine
place in
now?
the real world too, where you're just
yeah, like
Yeah.
it's fine
So
now.
9/11
Yeah, I was like, it's
happened?
fine.
Yeah, I'm like, so 9/11 happened, and you
And
just
the Autobots were just
all
like,
these robots
"Ah."
destroy LA, and you're just like,
One of my-
hey, we should be prepared for this, maybe. No, we're
Yeah,
not. Like,
nah.
I think one of my favorite like lines too were like, this is where you knew the writing was just like not finished or not happening, which is when there's like a moment where where Megan Fox's character is like, how do you know it's gonna work? And Shia
Oh,
LaBeouf's
yeah.
like, I just know. Like, I just know it's gonna work. Like, I feel it. I have this belief that it's gonna work. And like, as much as like you could take that in either direction and be like, oh yeah, like higher power, religion, you can whatever you want to do with that, it's totally fine. Like for this type of movie where you're dealing with such technology, it's kind of not really one of those things that you're like, I have the belief.
like, why would
Yeah.
you?
I
Like,
have the belief. Like,
And
does he? Is he believe? Is
The
he a
dialogue
believable?
is
Yeah.
rough. And I know we brought up 9/11, so one of the fun things that always makes me laugh is how they bury Megatron.
Yes.
Oh,
They just give him the Bin Laden funeral, just all the Navy ships around and just dump him in the water.
Yeah.
Also, he can come back.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
to bring him back to have another.
Just to bring him back.
And it's just like, I hate when like sequels do that. It's like, oh, you beat the big bad in the first one. Oh, we're just going to bring him back because there's
Yeah,
no
just
other
gonna bring him back.
alternative.
Yeah.
Like, no. You just,
But I don't mind when they do that if it's like 3 or 4 movies after,
that's
where
fine,
they're just
but
like, oh, like,
immediately
oh my
after?
god, you brought him
Yeah.
back, yeah, like immediately.
That's insane. To
well,
do
that
it
in
right
like
after.
when they dump, like when they kill Optimus Prime and they bring him back to the military base and they just like dump his body like on the ground. I'm like, all right,
Like,
well,
Jesus.
okay, like this is the last Prime
I-
left, and you're just like,
Exactly.
trash.
Yeah, they just like dropped him from the helicopter.
yeah, you see like the dust and the
I'm
shake.
like, God
like,
damn, bro.
Jeez, like
be a little respectful.
I know a little bit. Like he just saved. Well,
Yeah.
tried to save you.
I think one of the issues that I had with this movie, going back to what you were saying, is a lot of like the juvenile humor that they have in the film. Like there's 2 scenes specifically where you see dogs humping
Yeah.
something, whether it's each other, another leg, or whatever. There's a lot of humping scenes, and I feel like for me, like watching it, it's because like a lot of things were happening in Hollywood at the time. Michael Bay was just let off the leash. Like executive producers couldn't do anything about it. He's like, I'm just gonna do whatever I want. I'm gonna finish this movie. I want it to be out when it comes. He's like, I'm gonna lean into my own thing and just like
Yeah.
lean heavily on
He's
that
like, I'm gonna make
juvenile
money.
humor.
Yeah, he's like, I wanna
I'm
make
gonna film
money.
it in my backyard. Don't worry,
Yeah.
I got
Which
the
is
shot.
funny because he
100%.
didn't even want to do the first one. When
No, he did
Steven
not.
Spielberg was like, "Hey, come do this movie," he's like, "Nah, it's a fucking stupid toy movie." And then he was like, "Ah, well, I'll turn it into something." And then it made all this money, and he's like, "Ah, well, it's my baby now. I got."
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he's quoted on saying that like
Yeah.
at the red carpet for like the film.
Yeah.
Like he was like, "This is mine, so I would like to continue the story."
Yeah.
It's
Which
like,
is
he didn't even-
fine. Well, no,
is
which is
fine,
totally
yeah.
fine because if you truly believe in something,
Yeah.
I hope you see it through, and I hope you see that story. But the fact that you're not writing the story, like, there's even like, I think a little clip or like a little piece of like an article that I saw that said he locked the writers in a hotel room until they finished the
And mind you,
script.
these are the writers
Which
that
is
did not
wild.
want to return for the second one.
Yeah.
No,
They had to pay him $8 million each to bring them back.
yeah,
Because
which
they
is
didn't want to be
crazy.
a part of it. They're like, look, we already did the first one. Go find somebody else. And as he was looking for somebody else, he couldn't find anyone that worked with him. So he had to pay them extra money to get them back in. So it's a complete mess from the start of it all the way through. It released first in Tokyo, by the way.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
where it
For that.
released that.
Tokyo really got it first.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, well, kind of makes sense.
I mean, yeah.
don't
I-
know.
I-
Yeah,
I guess
yeah,
that-
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the market
Yeah.
probably more so than us, and then
I
it released
guess,
here. Was the biggest financial success in the United States for any movie because the DVD sold a shit ton.
Yeah.
Like this movie sold, and the marketing was great. Like they spent 150 million on marketing alone. Like they tried like their hardest to make this a commercial, and it was. It's just a
I don't
bad
know-
movie.
I don't know
It's
why,
a bad
but yeah.
popcorn flick, and there's some like that. You know, you get
Yeah.
those every now and then. I just don't think Bay added anything enticing or good. And he would come out and say like, yeah, it was the writer's strike that ruined it. And I'm like, yeah, I know a lot of people use that excuse for that year of bad movies, but
But if it's such,
But he
but,
waited.
but if it's such his baby,
yeah, you
like
wait.
you could make it
Yeah.
better. Like you could work around it.
Yeah.
He did not want the movie to be delayed because when I read about it is that he had another movie that he was supposed to do and direct and everything, but if Transformers got delayed, he would not be able to do the other movie. He still didn't end up doing the other movie because then he committed to I think Transformers 3 and 4.
Oh, Darker than
Yeah,
Darker
so he
Than the
committed to doing the rest of the Transformers
Moon, which
saga.
would speak more, I guess, to him. The baby.
Yeah, so that's why he rushed it, didn't end up doing the other one, and was just like, no, I'm just gonna continue doing Transformers movies. I don't know. I think with Michael Bay, I feel like he fell into that trap where I feel like a lot of like Hollywood sequel movies go to that. It needs to be bigger. It needs to be better. It needs to be more explosions, more CGI, more Autobots,
more America.
everything. And I feel like one of the things like I wrote down,
I'm sorry.
I was like, I lost track of how many Transformers are there. You have your Autobots, you have the Pretenders, and I was like, what the fuck is a Pretender? Then you have
Great
your
band.
They are a
I
great
was gonna
band.
say, I was like,
You have like your
Sorry.
Microbots,
I was
your
like, what's
insect bots, and I was just like,
They didn't
the
want to
band?
at one point, the original script had the dinos coming in.
yes, the dinos that were
Hold on
introduced-
now. Hold on.
Yeah, the dinosaurs that were introduced in like I don't
Then
know,
later
the
down
fifth,
the road,
sixth,
yeah, I forget
seventh
which
film.
one. I wanna
They
feel
were
like
supposed
that's
to be in the
two
second
before.
one too.
where did the Pretenders come from?
The Pretenders?
Are
so
they
I have-
descendants of the Foo Fighters?
I don't fucking know. Damn it, Marissa.
No, her brain's like,
Yeah. Just melted.
her brain's like, wait, what?
So
I'm sorry.
I had one note here to just bring it up to everyone is the whole scene of one of the only pretenders that we see in this film, which is Alice's character, and her whole scene where I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? So my thought is what I dubbed the scene of Alice and Sam in the bedroom, like trying to seduce her, I dubbed it as the love machine scene.
Okay.
So I just wanted to know, what are your thoughts on that entire thing? Because when I watched it with Joseph, I had to pause it and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
felt like
I was just
they-
like, there's so much
Yeah.
where I was like,
He was trying to get that Terminator.
Yeah, I wrote a note down
He's
and I
trying
was
to
like,
terminate her.
I'll see where this goes
Mhm.
because this is fucking god awful.
yeah,
Like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
there's a lot.
And then I hit play, and then like 10 minutes later, I was like, okay, that's exactly what I thought, and I deleted that note.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
Which again, like that was supposed to have like a bigger role in there.
it was supposed to
and,
be,
like, then
but
why-
then with the
There's so
script
many
not
things where
being
it's like, it didn't
finished,
work
that it
out.
just
But you kept it in.
Exactly. It's like that's not gonna work. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it in. Like
Filmed it.
you left it.
Yeah.
Like there's only so
Yeah.
much writers can do, man. You're the director. Like figure
Yeah.
it out, or just
No one
wait.
wrote that CGI and stuff. Like you
No.
did that, man.
yeah. He
I
did.
feel like too, like even fast forwarding to now, like thinking about how many movies, not even just Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen, where you have like so many issues with writers or like strikes or anything like that, and things are just not finished. Like I understand at some point, like the money is being spent and being lost, and like you're waiting and waiting and you're postponing, and you need to make money based on what you've spent. Like, do they not think that viewers of today are smart enough to figure it out? Like when like we're to the point where they're watching this movie, they're following the story, these characters that we love, especially when we get into sequels, like do they not know that we as viewers are now smart enough to recognize when something is off, whether it be from the writing or from the actors or the story, the CGI, anything like that, that we can't recognize it from now? Like this isn't, like we're not doing the talkies anymore. Like this is legit cinema, and we're all learning, we're expanding. All we want to do is kind of be entertained. And in this sense, with Transformers, like, for some of us, we grew up with these toys, you know, and you're just taking kind of like this thing that we grew up with, that we love, that we played with, that we have all these memories with, you know, and you're basically kind of giving it this throwaway story, you know, when you could just be giving it like a simple line base, characters that we, you know, love and understand. Like, like I honestly think that it would have been great had the first Transformers just had Bumblebee in it, and at the very end you get that little like preview of Optimus Prime, and then the second movie you get like nothing but Optimus Prime. Bumblebee is introducing him to what's going on Earth. You still keep Sam, you still keep that character and everything like that. You maybe take out the military, maybe add in the military when Optimus comes in, but at the same time, like, it's a much more simplistic story. It still sticks with like Steven Spielberg's first thought of like boy gets car, first responsibility. You can get more of that bond between the two of them together. Like, there's just like, I don't know, there's just so much more that like, it's like, I feel like almost simpler is better. Like,
if it was
with
more
this story,
like I feel like that Bumblebee movie, it's grounded. It's
oh
very,
yeah,
like,
because it's
very
one
simplistic and it's very that relationship, not this relationship plus an entire fucking war around it. And it's like it's hard to focus on that story when you have so many jumping points and so much other things happening in the background, and the big payoff is the third act just being an entire war. And it's like we did that in the first one. Now we're just gonna.
Well,
go
that
on
and
this
you
ride
like brought
again.
back characters that like maybe weren't necessary. Like, as much as I love John Turturro, like, and I love that scene in the deli where like they bring him back. Like, was he really needed? Could they have gone another direction with this? Like, could they have found out the information in another way? Kind of thing. Like, he's great. Like, once again, you bring back the whole underwear thing. Like,
he didn't need to rip his pants off. That was weird.
Like, yeah, like why do they keep doing, you know, like, why? Okay, yeah, like I mean I asked the proverbial question of like why, like why would they do this, and like why would they make Megan Fox like the hot character again? Like, I understand why for like basic viewers of like, oh, it's men, and like men are gonna love this and they're gonna think she's hot and they're gonna see it and they're gonna pause it and rewind it and pause it and rewind it. I get that. But I mean, at the same time, as far as like a film goes, like, just tell the story. Just tell the story. Like, I mean, and a lot of things, like even the character names, like Sam Witwicky, like Witwicky is one of the original characters in Transformers. So a lot of the things they did, especially in the first film, abide by, and I feel like this second story, just like they weren't sure where to go. It's almost like got that Game of Thrones concept where they just didn't know what to do, and they had a baseline and they just kind of ran their own story.
I was going to bring that up with the whole, because we just went through a writer's strike. And that's why I felt like House of Dragon season 2 felt very rushed and very like, here you go. Just take it for now, and we'll get to where we want to get to.
Yeah, like, stop complaining. Like, we'll just give it to you.
Yeah, here it is. Like, you guys don't want to wait, so here you go.
But I feel like, honestly, like,
studio,
like as a viewer, I would be much more willing to wait
make money.
for like a good product.
Give me a good story. Give me a good movie.
Yeah, if you say like, hey, you know what, we really want to go. Like, we really want to abide by our viewers and like people, like fans of the show, the TV, the movie, the characters, whatever. Like, I'm so sorry, but we're going to postpone like 6 months more, but we really want to promise you a good product. I feel like people would be understanding.
Majority would. Yeah,
like, well, no, like I think we talked about this over the weekend, like concerts, like lately all these concerts have been postponed because people are sick or whatever. And they really want to give a good show. And I think that there's something to be said about that, where like, we all get it. Like, you're human, you get sick. You know, like, as long as you put something out there and you tell us what's going on and you communicate, I really feel like that's, you know, something that Michael Bay could learn from in the future, maybe.
Well, I feel like when it came out during the early 2000s, that was the biggest issue with movies. They were just releasing them one after another after another. There was no like, hey, let's just make a good movie. Yeah, just money. Let's commercialize. Let's market this. Let's make the toys again. Let's just shove it down their throat and just give it to them, because the kids are gonna love it anyways. They don't know what a good movie is. They're just gonna be like, oh, Transformers. Let's go watch that, Dad.
But I feel like kids are getting smarter now.
Oh, like, now they are, because now they're just like, I don't want to watch like some half-assed attempt at any superhero movie or any action movie. Just give me a good movie. That's all. Just take the time. I would prefer to wait.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't really given Ryan.
Yes.
Oh no.
I want to give you. I was like, no, I want to give you a shot.
Because
we're just going off. We're just going off.
No,
I feel like Joseph and I are really popping off on like the whole, like, we grew up with these toys and we're very passionate about it. So I just like, I want to.
No, I mean, I completely agree. I think this was a total cash grab. And they just tried to get in and get out, and they it's like them taking the toy and be like, look, you like it? Look, here it is again. Look,
it's colorful.
Look
shiny.
Look at it, and it kind of shows, and it's very annoying. And that's I completely agree with.
This was one of the movies that we didn't watch together, so I didn't really like. I think I called him a few times when he was watching it, and I was like, was like, how's it going? How are you doing?
I
How are you liking it?
There's like a lot of shit that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like
Mhm.
robots can smell and breathe in
Oh, I
space.
didn't even catch
They can
that.
smell, but
Yeah.
they can breathe in
I
space.
didn't
Like
catch that.
it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
They're aliens.
I get it, but like,
Yeah, alien robots.
so what are you breathing?
Just
I'm gonna sit here in silence until you
There
give me the
is
answer.
okay. Now that you brought that up, though, there is like, sorry, one scene where it's like I think the Fallen takes over like all of the computers, TVs, or
Mhm.
whatever, and he's just like, "Hey, Earth, like your military's lied to you. Here we are. We're coming to get you," kind of thing. And like I'm like half torn, right? Because like you're in this garbage movie and you're like, I gotta finish this shit. Where is this going? And then the other part of me is just like, holy crap! Can you imagine if that really happened? Like
That's
one
exactly
day,
what I
like
thought.
one day you're just inputting invoices and you're just like looking at stuff, and all of a sudden like this ghastly thing comes on screen, and you're like, so can I
Is
leave
that
work?
fucking alien?
Well, no, I'm like me. I'm just thinking like, so can I leave work now?
Yeah, I'd be like, nah, I'm going
Can I
home, bro.
go?
I'd be like, I'm going
out.
home.
Can I go?
Yeah, like
Like I don't
Yeah,
want
I
to.
got shit to do at home.
I gotta
go
deal with
now.
this. Yeah, I was like this alien racy thing, but
Yeah.
Speaking of aliens, so one
we
note-
know you hate aliens.
Yes.
I thought that shit was just like, wow.
I know. I was like,
I was
wait,
like,
wait.
oh my
I
God.
have one note that I wrote while we were watching Aliens, and I put, you know, the whole scene that you see with when Megatron talks to like the Fallen, and you have like the little hatching of like the baby Fallen Megatron.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That did
I was
go
like,
by just
I literally wrote, I was like, it reminded me of Aliens in Aliens 2 when you have Ripley and like the whole hatching alien babies. I just wrote that. I just wanted to share it with you
You
guys.
just wanted to bring it back. Just
I
wanted to
did.
bring back that pain.
We always gotta talk about
You
it.
always
I
gotta
did.
bring it back.
I just wanted to bring
You
back
just
that
wanted
pain.
to
Can I just personally
Bring
say that I
that back.
love that a lot of these movies are just like connecting somehow. It's almost like our
We gotta bring
very
back
own
aliens.
like
It's gonna
6
take a lot of
degrees
work,
of
but we
Kevin
should go
Bacon.
back and just like.
It should be
pinpoint it,
our
start from
6
this,
degrees
Yeah,
of
yeah.
aliens
Let's go to
at this
that,
point.
here we go,
Oh
back
yeah,
to
it should
this,
be.
like-
Yeah,
Or 6
how is
degrees
how
of
is the
Alien.
how are the next movies going to connect to Alien? I think is our 6 degrees of Kevin
We
Bacon.
Oh, it
connected
will.
every single
Yeah.
movie
We'll
to
find it.
aliens.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
well.
connecting somehow.
It all stems back
I
to
randomly
aliens.
found. I looked for it because I wanted it to be more of a character, but he wasn't, and I just saw it for like a brief second. It was the same thing in Transformers where I was like, oh my god, he's from Sweet Life. There is an Egyptian guard that lets them through. And
Deep
it's
Roy.
Deep Roy. And I was like, wait a minute, hold up. And I thought he was gonna get more of like a time in there, and it was so quick. And I'm sure there's more characters. Like I know, like eventually when we talk about Star Wars, we're gonna get into all the people who are just like a random stormtrooper. But like, I don't know. I think that's so
Yeah.
fun.
I mean,
Like
yeah.
he's just
Class
like I feel like
71
he
where it's
maybe
like,
maybe does Deep Roy get enough credit as like just even like a side character?
Yeah, Oompa Loompa.
Is that credit though? Like I mean,
Yeah,
like
he's
credit
every
where
Oompa
credit's
Loompa.
Every
due.
Oompa Loompa.
Well, yes, I know, but I mean, like, you know, do we give him enough credit in terms of like, you know, he's never won. Has he won an Academy Award? Has he won like any of this stuff? But
he
he's
was an
in.
Oompa Loompa.
I mean,
He was an
He
Oompa
was an
Loompa.
Oompa Loompa.
Oompa Loompa in the original Willy Wonka.
No.
Johnny Depp.
She has never seen it. Don't just.
It's okay. I've never seen these movies either, and they were trash. So
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we're talking Gene Wilder, man. Like
Gene Wilder's great. That Willy Wonka and the Chocolate
Willy
Factory.
Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is
That's cinema.
phenomenal.
Love the
It is
tunnel scene.
terrifying.
Tunnel scene is-
It has action. It has like heart.
Romanza.
It has comedy. It's got everything.
Yeah.
It's got Gene Wilder. It's got
Yeah.
We'll watch it together one day.
Johnny Depp has.
and she's
Deep
gonna
Roy.
do exactly what my nephew did and just be like, this isn't as good as the Johnny Depp one, and then I'm gonna be heartbroken.
I think she
Again.
likes you like the newer one.
I do. I did not like the Johnny Depp one.
Oh, no,
Okay.
I get what you're saying. You mean?
Oh, you mean the Timothy Chalamet?
Yeah, yeah,
Timothy
yeah.
Chalamet.
I did really
Okay,
like that one.
I loved that one.
Oh, I
And you
loved
were
it.
the reason why I
Oh,
watched it.
I
and then
loved it.
That same night, I forced Joseph to watch it.
Oh, I thought it was great.
It was
No,
great.
It was
I watched
great.
it with all of us.
We
I thought
watched
it was
it.
great.
We never finished it. We
Oh, we did.
do you watch it twice?
But back to
Oh, I remember
Transformers. I wrote down one good thing.
Oh, jeez.
I
I
have
think in
nothing.
all of my notes, I'm pretty sure I was like, I'm looking at all my shit. The one good thing that I have besides like the fighting scenes, because like, you know, it's cool. There is this shot where it's Sam and Michaela, who's Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox, and they're hiding in this like hut house thing with like bottles that are like letting the light in or whatever. And there's this like pan of like 360 view, and it's basically like you see Sam's eye go through the hole, and you see all the Decepticons around the house, and then it comes back in and through that same hole to see like them still hiding. And like I think that that's a really cool shot. Like I love things like that where you can kind of like it's the one thing that I love about movies is being immersed in the moment, the scene, the world or whatever. And I think that for me, like out of all the things in both of these movies, that was the one shot that I was like, I'm in it.
Yeah.
Like this is me. I'm here. Like I can visually see myself being in this situation, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I remember from all these films is the Sam like dying scene.
Mm.
Like I was like, is this in the first one or the second one? And then I remembered. Because I remember he goes to like Autobot heaven.
Yeah, he
for some
does.
reason.
Yeah.
I
For
was
some
like,
reason, he goes to Autobot heaven.
which I mean, maybe because he's got it in his brain, but
No.
whatever. Anyway,
With that being said, does anyone else have anything to say about Transformers, or can we go to my little fun game that I have for you guys?
Oh, I forgot
I'm
about
so
that.
pumped for
This
this.
is like 2 hours already.
No, well,
Before we get into our
are
fun-
we
It'll be
rating
fine.
before the game or
Rating after.
Oh, rating after. Okay.
Rating
okay,
after.
okay,
Rating after?
Gotcha.
Okay. So, I have a list of trivia questions based on the movie to see
Oh god.
what we all thought about the movie. So, first question. This is going to be a multiple choice. How many robots are seen in the movie? Is it 28, 40, 39, or 46 robots?
I got
28.
46.
Was
46?
Was
Yeah,
28
there's-
an option?
28, 40, 39, or 46?
There's a lot of robots in this bullshit. Are you counting every
Oh,
little
wait,
individual
yeah.
one with
Every
that too?
individual
I'll
one.
say 40.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with
I'm
the
gonna say
highest.
39.
40,
I'm gonna say
39,
Whatever the highest one was.
46?
Yeah, that one.
You are correct.
Thank
It
you.
is 46 robots.
Cheers.
I'm just going to pick random ones. So, Michael Bay said this, that if all the robot parts that were used in the entire film were laid out from end to end, it would stretch from one side to the other side of which state? Is it A, Texas, B, California, C, Arizona, or D, Florida?
Texas.
What were the options again?
Texas, California, Arizona, or Florida?
California.
1 point for Marissa. It is
Damn it.
California.
It's longer, bitch.
Oh, I
It's
forgot
got that
about.
length,
I
not
forgot.
that. It's got that length, not that girth.
I was thinking the girth. Yeah.
Next question is, has Hugo Weaving, who is the voice of Megatron, has he ever seen any
He's
of the
never seen it.
Transformer
He's
films?
Never seen it. Cash me in. He's never
You
seen
told
it.
me that I was cheating. Here you are.
No.
These
I
And
have it as my fact.
second,
These
it's one
guy.
of his facts.
One of my facts.
And has Hugo ever met Michael Bay?
No.
Ooh. Is this
This is
So
one
two-part-
question or two?
two-part
No to
question.
both.
Okay.
Two-part
I'm
question.
gonna say
No
no.
to
I'm gonna say
both?
no
He's
to
never
both of
seen
No to
them,
both?
and he's never met Michael Bay.
Yes, I'll just say yes, just to put that was
It's no to both. So he's never seen any of the Transformer films. He recorded all of his lines from his home in Australia.
Noise.
Sick.
They recast
That's
them
the way
out-
to do it.
They
Yeah.
recast them after the
But
So-
where in
Damn,
Australia?
Didn't look that up.
They got
so
the one from the animated series.
Yes.
or something like that.
So
Mm.
after Hugo Weaving said his whole spiel on Michael Bay recasted him in the next movies
And
after
it
that whole
wouldn't
thing.
be the last time.
Well, yeah, what was
that
it?
happened.
The guy who originally did the voice of Megatron auditioned for Megatron,
Yeah. Mhm.
and Michael Bay didn't like the sound of his
Yeah.
voice.
Yes.
But
then
then he
eventually-
later
and
ended
then
up using him.
There was a yeah, they brought him back.
Yeah.
Wild.
Next question. Where did Sam and the gang find Jetfire? Is it A, in the NASA headquarters,
Sorry, I said jet
B, Grand Canyon, C, the pyramids, D, the Smithsonian Museum?
Smithsonian.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say the
Smithsonian?
Smithsonian.
Smithsonian? You guys are all correct. And
I
then
was like,
Egypt.
I was like, where am
The
I?
pyramid.
what is Michaela's dog's name? Is it A, Fang, B, Bones, C, Hunter, or D, never revealed in the movie?
Never
Never
revealed in the
revealed.
movie.
Never revealed, never revealed.
Never.
Never revealed.
You guys are all wrong. It's Bones.
Fuck.
I was like, I don't remember enough about her.
What movie poster was shown in Sam's bedroom
Bad Boys
in
2.
college?
Oh yeah,
Bad
it was
Boys 2.
Bad Boys
yeah,
2.
it was Bad Boys.
And then the final question that I have for you guys is, the movie was released on the 25th anniversary of what film?
Oh, is it a Michael Bay film?
I'm not telling you guys.
Son of a.
Armageddon.
Wait, the
No,
25th?
it's
The 25th anniversary
Wait,
of what
the
film?
Fallen one or
Yes,
the original?
Revenge of the Fallen.
So 25 years after 09. Before 09.
You guys got 10 seconds.
Oh God, time. I'm
it a
so
robot?
strapped.
8.
Is it a robot-esque
I can't
movie?
say anything.
Wait,
Just
wait,
say
wait.
it.
I'm trying to do math.
Short
7.
Circuit. I don't know.
I'm trying to do math right now. I'm gonna say.
6.
I'm gonna say the original.
Short Circuit 2.
Transformers. I'm gonna say Transformers the animated movie.
She is correct. It was released on the
Shit,
original.
it's so much easier to figure out.
Backing me.
I was like, I'm trying to do math.
Backing me.
I'm like, Short Circuit. Short Circuit. I did you Short Circuit too.
It came out on he released it on the 25th anniversary
I
of
tried to prices right you.
1984. Good job, Marissa.
Does that mean I win?
You
Yeah, I
win
think so.
nothing
Oh.
because I did not get a prize. But I have like 20 other questions, but
Oh.
for the sake of time, I won't do all of them. With that being said, does anyone want to go into their final ratings / reviews
I'll do it
of
real quick,
Transformers
'cause
2?
there's
Yeah,
not
go
much
for
to
it.
say about
Yeah,
this
go
film.
for it.
I'm at 1.5. It is just a cluster fuck of CGI, and the story is just wonky. Even though the story could have been really good, that makes it even more frustrating. Just jumps around, a lot of unnecessary stuff, a lot of unnecessary tropes that they use with some of the robots. Just not a fan of it. It's something that I don't ever need to watch again. I'll still pop in the first Transformer movie every now and then, but the second one, I'm good. I'm fine with that. So 1.5.
Ryan?
Yeah, I feel that the CGI was a little worse than the first one.
Mhm.
Like
They rushed
something
it.
was
Probably.
something was wrong about it. I'm right there with you though, 1.5. Yeah, it wasn't as good. Still a popcorn flick. Like the last half of the movie is just explosions and fighting, and it's like whatever. Yeah, Linkin Park still holds up. So
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because I was like, we didn't even mention the whole, like, every time there's an ending, it's like Optimus Prime being like, humanity, what a sad race. Here we are monologuing
Yeah.
about humanity.
he does the Runs house.
Yeah.
He's
He
just,
just did-
like, writing in
yeah.
his diary.
Yeah, he's doing like, or no, I don't
On
even
his
think, was it
BlackBerry.
Run's house first? I want to say, whoa. So pause. I want to say it was like 90210 that did like the diary at the end.
Whatever,
where
you
it's
know.
like, oh my God, Veronica's such a bitch. And then like, just until next time.
Yeah, and,
But
yeah.
anyway,
Optimus
it is,
Prime,
yeah, it was-
XOXO.
yeah, it's just, yeah, it's Optimus
XOXO.
Prime being like, humanity, we're here to save you because you can't save yourselves. And then cut to Linkin Park
Also, didn't
Yeah.
know Hans Zimmer was the co-producer for the soundtrack.
Yeah, he was.
with Linkin Park. Just him
It
like,
was them, Linkin Park. I forgot who the
Linkin Park?
actual
Just Hans Zimmer loves
composer
Linkin
was,
Park.
but he was like the producer for it. It was just
It's like I like Mike Shinoda.
Marissa?
Once again, I'm kind of basing it off the nostalgia and then the fact that like Steven Spielberg, I think, had like, I'm gonna say like a 5% like of his essence of just like, I just want to tell a story about a boy in his car. Like, I'm living off that dream for him. I'm gonna give it a solid 2 out of 5 poppies. I don't know. I think I just go based off like, when me and Ryan were talking about watching these movies, I was like, I've seen these in theaters, and like I remember them being like action blockbuster type things, and then I grew up with these toys, and like I remember just like the noise, and like even in the movies, like you don't even hear like the tagline of like more than meets the eye, like Transformers, robots in disguise kind of thing, like until the second movie. And I just feel like there's so much more opportunity that they could have taken with these movies to make them more, like they did very well with the original like fan base, story base, like that these toys, the show is from. But I just feel like if they just toned it down a little bit, like CGI is fine because I mean, like, how are you supposed to make robots kind of thing?
You build the robots.
Money. But at the same time, I don't know. I just feel like if they just simplified it a little bit more, I feel like we really would have had more of a connection. Like same thing with Barbie, like the Barbie movie that came out last year. Like it was one toy, like one opportunity, one storyline, one idea. And I feel like it just really made a lot of money. I feel like it hit a lot of people. It even had that whole monologue with America Ferrera where like people are just like, oh my God, like it's so deep. And you could have that. So, I mean, they're going to continue this same storyline with Transformers 1. So I just feel like they're still kind of burying themselves with this.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, hopefully in the future, 20 years from now, they can redo it and go from there. But I'm still going to give it a 2 out of 5.
So before I get into my rating, I would just like to say when you gave your spiel about the one opportunity and everything, I just started singing Eminem's song in my head.
One shot, one opportunity.
Mom spaghetti.
But I'm gonna have to agree with the boys. I gave it a 1.5 out of 5. I felt like this film, it just could have been better. Michael Bay and Shia LaBeouf have said it themselves that this film suffered from being rushed. You know, and I agree with them. I feel like they could have just taken their time. A lot was happening. I felt myself getting just very confused throughout the entire film. Just like, wait, who's this? What's happening? I don't understand what line we're in right now. A lot of things could have just been cut out. Lots of CGI. I feel like I would have enjoyed the film a lot more if certain things didn't happen, like the script and everything. But solid 1.5 out of 5.
A solid one.
Solid. It is the. Is it the worst rating? I disliked it better than Aliens. Disliked it more than Aliens, I think. Yes, disliked it more than Aliens. If that helps, Joseph.
As it should be.
But you gave it like a similar rating.
No, Aliens was a 2.5.
Was it?
Yes.
Check
Can
tape.
we go back? Can we check that? Yeah.
Yes. 2.5. I know this.
Because I'm like, if she's putting Transformers: The Revenge of the Fallen on the same plane as like Aliens, do
I
we
think
see
this
how this
one-
doesn't like? One was nominated for Razzies. One was nominated for Academy Awards.
I think this one.
I mean, this one,
Oh,
this
and
one got a
the
nomination
fall.
too.
No,
Yeah.
the Fallen was nominated.
Yeah,
I
for
want to say
sound.
again for sound. Yeah, for sound, right?
mix.
So we
Still
got
didn't
two
win. Still didn't
Academy
win.
Award nominated films. Both were shit.
Oh, and it also lost those Academy Awards. I want to say 2 sequels as well. I know one was Bourne Ultimatum, and then the other one is The Golden
my
Compass,
God,
which
it's
is a
Jason
sequel
Bourne.
storyline to something, correct? Or
Golden
No,
Compass
the Gold
is its own movie.
Its own
But
movie.
doesn't it have a sequel, or isn't it a sequel?
They never
it might
made a
have like
sequel.
a prequel, but it never had a
Maybe that-
sequel.
maybe
I read
it's
the
the
book. It never
prequel.
had a.
It was a
It was
book
a prequel.
series.
I
They
never saw
made-
any of
they-
that,
I
so-
did.
They made the first one.
A movie, and then they were set it up for a sequel. It never
and
happened.
the sequel now. Okay.
And then they made a series after, but it was the same.
Oh, that's
story.
what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of the
Nice.
series.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
of the series.
Yeah.
But the Bourne Ultimatum, which those I've never seen.
I've
but I
never
do
seen
know
them
that
either.
there are sequels.
We'll get there
I've never
eventually.
seen them. I've never seen them.
I'm excited for those.
I
but
mean,
anyway.
it's a movie.
So yeah, so Transformers.
With that being said, I think that's all for us today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I think that's anything else.
Do I get a toy for winning the game?
Yeah, eventually. I'll get you a toy when I go to Target.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to go
Or a
today. I'm
Linkin
so
Park
sorry.
album?
Tell us
Smart.
what your favorite toy was growing up.
Tell us
Yes.
what your favorite Linkin Park song is.
That too. Until next time,
Winchester.
we'll see you guys next time.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Until next time, the podcast, a show so sublime. Marissa, Mooney, Joseph, and Ryan signing off with glee. Join us next episode for more sequel revelry.